Be sure to subscribe for more content.
What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome to the BigBC Finance Channel, and I hope you're having a very lovely day today. So in today's video, we're going to be talking all about Dogecoin, what has happened to it recently, and where I predict the price to go to in the near future with some key price levels and some trades I'm looking to make. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. And of course, if you appreciate daily analysis on this channel and you're not yet subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button. So without further ado, let's talk about what we're seeing here on. So Dogecoin at the moment is sitting at around 13.1 cents, which is still super impressive. We're still up a huge amount from where we were prior to this pump. So right at this very second, we're 122% where we were just a week ago here on Dogecoin. So very, very cool stuff. We're still super high up on the price here. And of course, yesterday we had an interest rate decision that basically stated that the interest rate was going to be hiked to 4%. So a 75 basis point increase, which is what the consensus was. So there was no surprises there. However, we still saw a lot of volatility nonetheless, not just in Dogecoin, but throughout cryptocurrency and throughout the stock market. And of course, as you can see, there's some large wicks that took the price up a little higher in both directions. So in the first hour, we can see it go very high, and then in the following hours down to a low here of around 12.1 cents. And of course, basically what happened in that interview was that it started off quite bullish. There seemed to be tones of easing the gas pedal on these rate hikes, and things were looking slightly optimistic, so the market started going up. But as the interview progressed, it became apparent that there was more of a hardliner attitude to combating inflation at whatever cost. So of course, kind of insinuating that these rate hikes were going to continue on for longer than we once expected. So we saw the prices eventually come down, not just on Dogecoin, as I say, but on Bitcoin, you can see exactly the same thing. It started off high and then it came down over the subsequent hours. And on the stock market, you can see again, the S&P started off strong. We got to 389 on the S&P, but then over the next few hours before market close, we got down to 374 there. So a massive dump after that interview with the Fed. So that's not looking too great, but crypto at the moment is looking really, really resilient. So if you look here on the right, we can see that things are still in the green. There's been some pumps throughout the whole of cryptocurrency. At the moment, Bitcoin is still holding its 20,000 level, despite seemingly breaking below this kind of triangle that we have here. And Dogecoin is still holding 13 cents even after the news. So that is very, very bullish. The fact that we are holding this 13 cents level also tells me that, there's investors that come into Dogecoin that haven't just come to speculate. There's been quite a lot of longer term holders who are just investing in Dogecoin because they think it's going to be a good investment for the much longer term. And that is probably why we've not seen dumps that we should have done after that inflation rate. People are still keeping their money in Dogecoin, which is very, very bullish. Of course, I do cover other meme coins on this channel, and when we see a pump of this kind of magnitude, typically what we see is people start to sell off after the pump. So we do see some periods of consolidation, but it becomes apparent that the prices are going to start falling back down and retracing most of the way of the pump up. But on Dogecoin, there has been no signs of that yet. We're consolidating in this region, which is still fairly bullish in my opinion. But we have lost some key levels here on Dogecoin. So of course, this bullish line that's going up, this orange line, for example, was the trend line that I was kind of following in order for me to remain hyper bullish here on Dogecoin, in the sense that we're going to keep pumping and making newer highs. And now we've crossed below that, so the chances of that are considerably less. Of course, I'm not saying it can't go higher, but I'm just saying that, this parabolic rise that we've had on Dogecoin is probably starting to ease off. And of course, with these moving averages that we see as well, the three moving averages were heading in an upwards direction that looked like this, and of course the price stayed above the moving averages in general. Of course, this 50-hour moving average was kind of a dynamic support, so the price bounced off it and started making newer highs, and eventually the price has now come down below that 50-hour moving average. So we're kind of watching this 100-hour moving average, this blue line that we have here, and how the price interacts with it. At the moment, it's been good because we bounced off the blue line, suggesting that this is also a good dynamic support. So we've got this area here. But what you'll notice is that these moving averages are moving in a more sideways direction. And of course, when they do that, it indicates that the trend has probably changed into a more choppy and sideways trend, as opposed to this bullish trend that we've been used to over the past 6 days on Dogecoin. So this is particularly apparent with this 50-day moving average, the 50-hour moving average that we can see is completely just going in a sideways direction. The price is just going through it, sometimes above it, sometimes below it, and this 100-hour moving average is starting to trend that way as well. So it does look like things are going to start heading sideways. Of course, we've broken this bullish trend line, this bullish support that we have here. We're starting to crisscross the 50-hour moving average, and they're starting to move sideways. So That's what I'm observing with those two, and with the volume as well. We do have, so from the start I've said that the volume's been printing higher highs. Obviously, if we ignore this parabolic volume here, which basically the volume has been printing higher highs as the Dogecoin price has been going up. And of course, if I was to remain bullish on Dogecoin making higher highs on the price, then we wanted to see the volume continue this trend in the upwards direction. You've seen, the peaks of the volume reaching this purple line, this trend line that I've drawn just there for the volume. And this is the first time. So yesterday was the first time where we didn't see that. We saw the volume come up, but it was less than the previous high. So of course, that to me also shows me that we could be seeing some sort of change of trend here, and we could actually better draw a trend line on the volume that looks like this now. Of course, intersecting this peak here, because this was a bit of an anomaly, this was parabolic, but if you generally connect the tops here, you see that the trend line is going in a more downwards direction than it previously was. So this is another thing that I'm observing. Of course, this alone doesn't mean that we are bearish now. It just means that we could be seeing something that isn't this super bullish trend that we've been in on Dogecoin. So we can see on the RSI and the MACD that the momentum for Dogecoin has kind of flattened off, quite expectedly, because obviously there was an influx of new buyers round about this region here trying to buy up Dogecoin. So we saw massive momentum in the upwards direction, and now that has tapered off. So to me, that isn't that concerning, in the sense that that hype is always short-lived, and that the momentum will probably taper off. But yesterday I did say that we did see some sort of divergence connecting these peaks here, which again could tell us that we're changing trend as well. So in this case, that we are seeing from this bullish trend to a more sideways trend. So that's another observation I have. Of course, the lines of the MACD and the RSI are sitting round about the middle at this very moment, meaning that kind of supporting this thesis that we're going in this sideways direction. And of course, we want to look for chart patterns, and some of the most obvious ones that I'm seeing right now on Dogecoin is something that looks like this. Of course, the Dogecoin price has been moving in a more sideways direction, and I do think something will happen in the near future. Of course, there could be a big breakout coming very soon, just down to this pattern that I'm seeing here. So this here is a triangle. Of course, this is a period of consolidation. The volume is decreasing and the price is moving in a channel that's going, a channel of support and resistance, where the resistance is going down, the support is going up, and eventually the price is going to get wedged in between this resistance and support. And what we should see is some sort of breakout from this triangle. So we could see a breakout to the upside if this triangle is respected. Of course, chart patterns are not perfect, but I'm just watching this to see if it is respected. If it is, then we could see the price continue its leg up to these kind of prices here at 17 to 18 cents, with the ultimate price target being 18.5 cents there on Dogecoin. Of course, what we need to see is a new influx of momentum and volume. So for example, if Elon Musk were to tweet that Twitter will be using Dogecoin as its sole currency, for example, that should do the trick, and that should pump Dogecoin to this expected price target here at 18.5 cents on Dogecoin. However, if we do break below this triangle here, then by the same principle, we could see the price go down to around 9 cents here on Dogecoin. Now, of course, this isn't going to be an instant movement. I don't expect it to do something like that or like this if the price is respected, but what we could see is a more gradual decline, fueled first by momentum and volume, and something that looks like this, for example. And of course, the opposite is true in the upwards direction. I'd expect something that looks like this. So nothing too crazy, but with a bit of patience, we should reach that price target if this triangle is respected. Now, the other thing I want to point out as well is another chart pattern that I'm seeing, which could have a bit more of a bearish inclination. So this other one that I'm seeing is potentially some sort of head and shoulders. And this head and shoulders is a reversal pattern. So of course, we've been in this bullish direction at the moment, but if this does indeed play out, then we could be heading in a more bearish direction. So the head and shoulders, in my opinion, could look something like this. Of course, this would be contingent on Dogecoin continuing to pump upwards for a little bit, but then coming back down below this neckline, so where this purple line is, and then heading lower from that. So what we could see as a hypothetical scenario is something like this, where Dogecoin continues to push, it breaks down below this neckline here, and what we should see is the price do something like this. Now, of course, the price target from a head and shoulders that looks like this would be this distance here, so roughly this from the breakout below of that right shoulder there. So again, 9.3, 9.4 cents on Dogecoin. So another pattern that I'm looking for, the head and shoulders pattern. Of course, it's not yet completed, so there's no confirmation until we complete that right shoulder and break down below that neckline, and then the price target becomes 9.3 cents. Of course, that is a trend reversal pattern, and that would indicate that we're going into a bearish trend instead of a bullish trend on Dogecoin. And finally, some of the things I wanted to say as well is that if we are going to head down, then these will be some of the key levels that I'm looking at. So if the price breaks down below this neckline and we see the prices go lower, or breaks below that triangle that I showed you before, then some key levels where I do think we can encounter some support will be 12.1 cents here on Dogecoin, and if we break below that, then at 11 cents as well. So this region here on Dogecoin. So two levels where I'll be looking to take a part of my position out if we do see a chart pattern play out to the downside. So just to recap everything so far, like I say, this trend line, this bullish trend line that's been holding the price up, has been broken below us, so that means we're no longer in this hyper bullish trend. You can see the moving averages that were once very, very steep here on Dogecoin are starting to flatten out, and the price has missed this 50-hour moving average and is now testing this 100-hour moving average. If we do break below that, then we've got this 200 one. And if we do break below that 100-hour moving average, then we're definitely in different trends here on Dogecoin, probably as a more sideways trend. And of course, we're seeing the volume decline as well. So we're no longer seeing higher highs on the volume here, and we could be seeing this period of consolidation where a chart pattern such as a triangle that I've shown you, or that head and shoulders that I've shown you, could play out. So we've got several price targets around this 9 cents region here on the bearish side, or ultimately 18.5 cents if we are able to break above that triangle in a bullish direction once again. So those are all the things here I'm looking at on Dogecoin. And of course, in terms of what the cryptocurrency market is doing, I'm always monitoring Bitcoin as well, since Bitcoin will add a bullish or bearish bias onto altcoins such as Dogecoin. So if Bitcoin is making this move right now where it's broken down from this triangle and it's headed for this 19,400 region down here, then of course that's going to add a bearish bias onto Dogecoin as well. And I do think we could see a break below that triangle there, as I've shown you before. However, if we get more bullish price action here on Bitcoin, so for example, we're able to make a few legs higher on Bitcoin, get into the 21,000s here on Bitcoin, then we could see the same in Dogecoin. We can see more bullish bias where this trend line is probably more respected, and we can see something like this going in an upwards direction. So those are just some of my observations here. Of course, Bitcoin is the tune of the whole cryptocurrency market, so whatever Bitcoin does will have a bias as to what Dogecoin does as well. And at the moment, Bitcoin is sinking, so if we do hit 19,400, then I don't see Dogecoin going higher than 13 cents until the cryptocurrency market does the same. So of course, it's pretty tense here right now. On Dogecoin, I'm still very, very impressed nonetheless of how it's held up its price at 13 cents, which is still 120% from where it was just a few days ago. So very, very bullish stuff still. People obviously seeing this new price in Dogecoin as justified, and we're not going to see a retracement back down to these levels, at least for the next few weeks, hopefully for longer. But I do believe that we're starting to see a new sideways trend emerge here on Dogecoin, where the price is going to be more choppy in this region. And if we are unable to find new buyers and new momentum to bring into Dogecoin, then we could start seeing the price slip down a little bit further into 12 cents, into 11 cents, into that kind of region there. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So of course, I'll update everything that I see on my trading view. If you want to follow my trades on there, be sure to hit the link in the description below and follow me on my trading view. And of course, if I do make any trades here on Dogecoin, then I will update my trading view. So be sure to follow me on there. The link is in the description below. But otherwise, that's pretty much all I have to say here. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you have a very lovely day, and I'll see you in my next video.